mask is probably the best defense of not catching COVID. So there's new policies and business practices that are happening. I know within my company, we had to create new criteria for just coming to the office, sick time. There's all kinds of regulations now with, short-term leave and, accommodations for people who may have COVID. And I think one of the worst things that's happening right now is that there are times when the information is conflicting. So whether it's the CDC, it's become a little political. From the clinical side, we stay clear of that. We are strictly looking at the science, what's happening with the trends, the patients, because we really need to, the Bible is really around the science and what's happening with the patients. Of course, using disinfectant wipes and sanitizers. I can't even, if you go online, you can't find Lysol and Clorox wipes anymore. You probably could, for a while there, you could probably buy toilet paper for $30 for like 6 rolls. So it was a little crazy time, but now that things are opened up, you can buy these things, but you still can't find disinfectant wipes. So if anybody finds any, let me know and I will go buy some. So the morale and retention. So I think the morale of people, whether it's in the workplace or home, morale is somewhat at an all-time low. Many people are negative. We're, in particular at some jobs, and I've had conversations with some of the EAP organizations within New Jersey. They are looking at doing all kinds of, whether it's a team building, mood enhancing exercises. When you start meetings at work, we're doing, things to break the ice and, lighten things up a little bit, being a little bit more lenient with breaks and, trying to, we send out every Friday, little things to make people laugh, whether it's a little dog video or a child video or something that's a little bit funny to lighten the mood because, all of this can become and is becoming very, very overwhelming. I think the biggest thing that's happening, and we always say children are very resilient, but 30% of children's mental health is impacted by COVID-19, and this is on the CDC website. As children are going back to physical in-class sessions.
If it's asking for a password, hold on.
Gary, mute yourself.
Yeah. All right, just a minute. Okay.
Claire, what was that figure for children?
30% of children's mental health is impacted by COVID-19.
Hold on.
And that it has to do with the virtual learning sessions and isolation. Mm-hmm. So what's been happening with our poor children, obviously, is the parents are working. They're working from home. The virtual learning is happening. The child may be put right in front of the computer to do whatever the work may be. And that's if they have a device. Some of the schools have had to provide devices and Wi-Fi because the parents may not have Wi-Fi at home. Mm-hmm. So this causes stress and, the children are feeling like they can't do it or they're, left behind or, and then there's some children that are like thriving and just feeling like, we'll get through this. So you see a mixed bag of what's happening with our children. And I think children that have the attention deficit disorders and special needs are probably suffering the most because they thrive on that in-person interaction. Mm-hmm. So, I know the teachers are trying to be as creative as possible to come up with virtual exercises for our children who are autistic or have, deficits to help keep them, motivated and move along and then learn, So 45% of the children are impacted by separation from teachers and classmates. So that is huge. That's almost 50%. And then for the children that have COVID or have gotten COVID, because some of the children's stories are just horrific. And although you may hear on the news, they're not, they can bounce back from it. It's not a big deal. There are many deaths that are happening with our children. And if they do make it through the inflammatory, the whole virus process, there are inflammatory triggers that are happening post-COVID infections where the children are getting inflamed hearts or, heart infections, kidney issues. So, you might think you had COVID and you're done and you're good, but the residual impacts for anyone, but in particular children after COVID, is what people are starting to see. So, we're living all of this as it plays out because this is all new to all of us. We talked about the behavioral health impacts, and there is some trends in the medical side of things. So, for a period of time, the doctor's offices were closed, the hospitals were closed. I personally know people that needed hip replacements and knee replacements that had to wait. And are just now going to have those procedures now, and their knees and hips are worse than they were 4 months ago when they needed to have it done. So there's a lot of complications as a result of having to wait to get these procedures done. There's also an impact now with newborn births, and a lot of the babies are being born a little premature. So there is a trend in high-risk OB maternity cases and births that are happening early, and some impacts to the newborns that are being born early. And, the cancer and the kidney failure is probably a couple of the diseases that no matter what was happening with COVID still happened. So you had to have people who went for their dialysis treatments, their chemotherapy, their radiation. All of that continued through COVID, because, obviously people couldn't stop while they were in the midst of treatment. There's also a prediction for a baby boom. So, I personally know of like 8 people who are families who are expecting babies. So the lockdown had a different effect for some people. But if you count out from February and count out 9 months, let's see what happens. But I already know a bunch of people who are pregnant, like 4 months, 5 months pregnant. So there's a big baby boom happening. So get ready. Some of the social factors I wanted to talk about. So there's increased social media. We've got TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Everybody's got their phone. And, instead of you having a conversation with somebody, the conversation is this. So, which is pretty sad because, at least if you're in the house with somebody and you want to have a conversation, most times if you look at people in their houses, they all got their phones up and they're doing something on their phone versus having, literal conversations with people. The other thing that has increased is gambling, from brick and mortar buildings to virtual gambling. So, I'm sure you see the commercials where people are saying they're winning money. A lot of times they're not winning money, they're losing money, but gambling has hit a trend, increase over the past few months. And we talked about substance and alcohol abuse, and there's virtual cocktail hours where you can sit at home now alone and drink with other people virtually. The times are really changing, but a lot of care needs to happen with the substance and alcohol abuse, because you might start out with a drink a night, and next thing you know, these vices are very sneaky. You're having 2 or 3 a night, and then you're drinking online with someone, feeling like you're with someone, and you're really by yourself drinking. So, things to think about as you go online and have a virtual cocktail hour with friends and family. So, time for action. So what do we do about all these things? How do we cope? So we've got some digital programs. A lot of folks are, we're thinking about the phones in, social media kind of way, but there are some digital programs that are out there that will help people feel better about things. And I've got a couple examples of them in this PowerPoint, which I will share with Gary to get to all of you, if you didn't receive the one that I attempted to try to send through my email. But there's Happify Health. So this is a program that on a daily basis, there are psychologists and health life coaches that send out exercises. There is activities. You can go on links and there's different, there's yoga exercises. You can click on a video link and it actually will show you scenery of mountains or the beach, and you can do some deep breathing exercises through this app. There's also one called Calm that you can, and I don't know if you saw some of the commercials where it'll say, hey, for the next 15 seconds, just watch the screen. And it's, I think it's in the forest, and you see a rain, it's raining, and you just hear the raindrops hitting the leaves. That is one of the apps that I also have called Calm. Physical exercise is always good if you can, even walking. And walking outside as opposed to on a treadmill is even better, because when people are closer to nature, there are many studies that talk about how the feeling of well-being when you're close to nature. Also, people are noticing that they need more sleep. They need time to recover from what goes on during the day, between watching the news, hearing about what's happening, feeling like you need to be connected all the time. If you're feeling like you're emotionally spent, that is normal and it's happening. So you may feel like you need more time. You might have been a 6-hour person and just for sleep, and now you're at 8 hours. Don't think that you're, crazy and losing your mind or something's wrong. That is just from the emotional stress of COVID. Use a buddy system. You may have people that you connect with every day. You catch up with them in the morning or at the end of the day. Just talk about something mindless and funny versus, hey, did you watch the news? Did you hear about the shooting? Or, did you, it's just so overwhelming right now. We would just want to check in on each other to make sure we're all coping. And some companies have developed something called, there's all these new careers now as a result of COVID. There's contact tracers, there's ambassadors, there are fatigue risk managers. So that's a new one. So folks are becoming fatigued, and you can develop a fatigue risk management plan for your family. You can have one for your company. EAPs are working on this, or your employer assistance programs are working on these types of risk management plans so that people don't get fatigued. And there's symptoms of employee work fatigue as a result of what's happening right now. So, there's certain careers that might be ending, but others that have just started and are brand new. Another time for action. You see something, say something. If you don't see one of your neighbors and it's been, a week, and you usually see them every day, give them a call. They could be depressed. Try to be creative. And again, if you're at work, you can, utilize your employee assistance program, or contact your healthcare provider. Reach out to your doc, get an appointment, use your telemedicine capabilities. The copays are really inexpensive, and it'll give you some therapy through a behavioral health provider or a therapist. And, there's nothing wrong with checking in, making sure that you're feeling okay. And you know what, if you're not okay, you can't help others or folks in your family. So you have to take care of yourself, technically, before you take care of others. So, and that's one of my mottos as a nurse, being a nurse for over 35 years, it was always about helping others. And one of the things, I actually went to a class, and a lot of nurses go to these classes, and physicians, to learn how to take care of ourselves, because we are so busy taking care of others, we do forget about ourselves. So with that being said, I do have some links in the PowerPoint, which can take you to some websites for you to look at other things that are associated with this. There's plenty of reading materials out there. Just remember, analysis paralysis is bad. So don't overwhelm you with all of the stats out there and the reading materials. And, think about maybe one program that you watch per night versus putting on CNN or MSNBC, and you started from like 5 p.m. from the time you get home, and you're watching it till 1 a.m. Please don't do that. Try to screen out and just designate what you're going to watch and what you're not going to watch. And with that, I just have a little saying at the end of this PowerPoint from Edward Everett Hale, and it says, "Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success." So with that, I know we ran over a little bit, but we started a little bit late. So if there's any questions, I could talk about the Corona White House Task Force. We were meeting 6 meetings a week, different topics, different headings. It's a national meeting, no press, no politicians, just clinicians. So we were able to get a lot done and talk and tell stories about what's going on, best practices, which has really helped all of us across the country. And now we're meeting one meeting every other week. So it really has diminished, but we are afraid of the next outbreak that we see things are trending up. So we're all extremely worried at this point.
Thank you, Maurice. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. If any of you have any questions on unmute yourself, you can ask a question. We haven't too much more time, but if you have a question, please ask it now. Does anybody have a question?
This is Edna.
Okay.
Do you
Go ahead.
know, Claire, of any facilities in Somerset County that are taking care of the folks dealing with the long-term effects, anxiety, cardiac issues, pulmonology issues, etc.?
Yeah, some of our local hospitals have programs. St. Peter's and Robert Wood, they're all JFK, they're all creating programs to help, and some of them are free actually. So the health department.
I work for Hackensack Meridian Health, so I know that Hackensack Meridian Health has a program at all its hospitals, although it begins as a telehealth program. That's the initial screening, but I don't know of any other hospitals in the area that have a COVID recovery center for patients.
Yeah, I think a lot of them do. And that could be a follow-up I could get you more information on. I know the health department is also doing things, each local health department. And, there's also, if you
I think
go on
it's an important message to get out to folks locally.
Yeah, absolutely. And NewJersey.gov is also another website that has listings of some things that are available for people. And many of them are free of charge. I know Aetna Insurance and also Blue Cross. And so if you have commercial insurance, there are programs through your commercial insurance that are free that you can also participate in.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Harriet.
So, Ms. Holmes, one issue that's kind of been proliferating with the coronavirus is that youth don't really follow rules. A lot of them think that they're not like to directly say to youth about the coronavirus.
Absolutely. Look at the trends on what's happening with the youth. So I think earlier on, and I have some statistics that I think I talked about one of them, but between, let's say 40 and below, put it this way, between 0 and 9, those trends for newborns, I think in my population that we deal with, we've had the youngest that died was 6 months old. So, and from 40 and below is almost like 45% of those people have COVID. And many of them, like I said, may seem like they go through it. They just had a slight migraine or they're asymptomatic. But I have some, know some pretty horrible stories where kids came home from college. One in particular that I know came home from football when it got closed down out of state. And he brought it home and killed both of his parents. So,
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's very, wear the masks and no COVID parties.
Okay, are there any other questions before I go on with the meeting? Clarice, thank you so much.
And if there's any other questions, send your questions to Gary.
Right.
And he will get them to me and I'll get an answer back to you. And
neighbors also.
Yeah, and it looked like the PowerPoint went through. So Gary, if it didn't, let me know. I'll send it to you directly. And
okay.
Send it out.
Clarice.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Thank you, Clarice.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay, let's go. Let's start the meeting. I apologize for the password problem, but I talked to the guy from Township, and he told me it would be corrected for next time. Okay, I need a motion to okay, the minutes of our last meetings. So I need a motion, please.
Okay,
I need a motion.
yes,
I'll make that motion. I'll
Do
make
I
that
have a
motion.
second? Do I have a second?
yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Sean, our police representative is on the telephone. So, I'm gonna ask him for the police report. Okay, Sean, go ahead. Sean, can you hear me? Sean? He was on the telephone before. Okay, I'll have to go on. Okay. I'm going to ask our junior commissioners to give us an update on the school and how it's been going so far. Okay. Rivka and Henry, go ahead.
Okay, so so far we have begun online school. Essentially, what we tackled is of a half day every Monday through Thursday, in which we attend Zoom calls with our teachers, and then they basically teach us for the 40 minutes rather than the hour block that we used to have. On Fridays, we essentially have something called a remote or asynchronous learning
Hi,
day,
Sean.
where we kind of catch up on work and we're given time to like de-stress after the week of calls. So that's basically been the schedule for school, and we're into our third week
I kept
so
asking for you,
far.
but I couldn't hear you.
Just the schedule. We've also been very successful in terms of implementing our
Okay,
sport back in
let's forget about the time then. Hopefully, the next time we can get a report.
that is, for example, tennis and even football. And then we've also
Okay.
Can you speak
been on
louder?
track with our clubs. Our club rush
Yeah.
is scheduled to be on
Okay.
the 8th of October. So
Okay.
the resuming of clubs will start
Okay, let me
very
go.
shortly after that.
We had that,
We've also
we had that
very
incident this
successfully
week, the
electing
murder, right?
our class officers for the
Oh.
class of 2021. That is the graduating class.
Okay,
So overall,
okay,
through
sure,
the
thanks a lot.
dedication of
Forget
our
that. Okay, thanks a lot.
administrators, our superintendent, and our principal, we've been very on track with our learning process. Moreover, the school and the district has also been very supportive of lack of technical devices, and they have been giving us devices such as the hotspot for bad Wi-Fi and Chromebooks, and even textbooks for students who do not have digital technology.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any questions?
Sean just called, teacher called me, he's having problems getting in, but, for those of you who haven't visited the Community Relations Bureau, which is on Hamilton Street, you should go over there and have Sean give you the tour because it's actively going now, and the Community Relations Bureau is actively in. I know that Johnny was there, Johnny Gibbs was there, I was there, everything else. So if you have a chance, go over there and take a look at it. It's the old public library. Of course, it's on the corner of Hamilton and Franklin Boulevard. It's okay. Thank you. Councilman Rama, are you on?
I'm on. Can you hear me?
Okay. Can you make a report about what Councilman talked last night about the community? At at the council meeting, when the councilman talked about the
Yeah.
Black Lives?
Yeah. So yesterday's council meeting, I know Gary attends it religiously. If any of you attended it, you would have heard very powerful, moving commentary from Councilman Wright.
All right.
And he was talking about the violence in the community at large. People killing each other, which is not good. I mean, there's some police violence upon the blacks, and that's one bad apple spoils for the rest of them. But also there's violence among the community, and he was passionately asking the community to avoid at all cost. One of the reasons he pointed out could be that there are a lot of unemployed people without any work, idle hands, find trouble. So I think one of his goals is to focus on finding jobs for youth, especially who seem to have I guess, flair for these gun violence in the community. So I think it's with the Community Relations Bureau at the Hamilton area, that section, Ward 4 and 5, that seems to be the area where these unfortunate violence, gun violence, deaths, shootings seem to happen. So the Community Relations Bureau is going to play a very critical role in developing a relationship with the community there, and bring some youth into the center. If you visit the Community Relations Bureau, you would see that we have some community event facilities like community a kitchen, and there's some play area upstairs. So there's a lot of other programs that the cops are planning to do, and that is not really a police outpost. So it is truly, there's no law enforcement activity going on in that building. Just because the cops are manning them, it is not an outpost. It is more of a bridge to build relationship with the community. So we are hoping over the years, the police department will be able to develop that relationship and reduce the violence in that area. So it was a very a good meeting yesterday. I think everybody appreciated Councilman Wright coming out and speaking about this.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you so much, Councilman.
No questions.
Okay.
Just that time.
Regarding the census, you want to give a short report, Edna, please?
Yes, I was out 2 weeks ago with the League of Women Voters and the NAACP. And the League of Women Voters was in a parking lot on Hamilton Street, and the NAACP was outside of the Tropical Supermarket on Hamilton Street. So I walked up and down businesses. We had an iPad that folks could fill out the census, or they could register to vote on Spanish language and English language forms. So just went up and down some businesses there and introduced myself to folks, and handed out or helped them to fill out with the use of the iPad the census information. I came across more people who had filled out the census than who had voted. Everybody that I visited on Hamilton Street was very welcoming and happy to put out forms and to let people know that there was a table over in the parking lot that folks could visit, etc. On today, I went to Township Hall and picked up more posters from Anne Marie McCarthy. I'm planning to go back out again on Saturday. So let me know if anybody's available.
Mr. Tibbs, you got any questions, Tim? Because you called me last night.
Hi, Gary, this is Alex. Ed and I just wanted to let you know that on Sunday, when we had the COVID and flu shot at middle school, we handed out voter registration as well as census information.
Okay.
We had got a bunch of it from Assembly Joe Danielson office. And so anybody was coming, they were given the form. Next week, we also have this Sunday from 11 till 6 o'clock. They are having the COVID test and free flu shot. So if you wish to maybe to ask the Women's League of Voters to come there and promote, that'll be fine. Usually a few hundred people come.
Where will it be? 11 a.m.?
It's in the middle school on Hamilton Avenue.
At the middle school.
That's the old high school.
11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday.
Yes, right.
That's the old high school.
Yes.
Even if you come and just give some brochures out, you know, if you don't want to stay there the whole time, you can give, because people come every hour. A few people come, like 50 people come, maybe even 60 people come every hour. But if you want, you can also bring some brochures and give to the people at the registration. And they're really nice. They will give out to whoever is coming in.
Okay.
Johnny, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
You had some questions on the census.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, John.
All right, give me time, Gary. All right. Hey, Edna, when was you on Hamilton Street?
I guess it was about, I'd have to look at my calendar, but I think it was 2 Saturdays ago. I can figure it out because it was the same Saturday I had a wedding.
2 Saturdays ago.
Yeah. I'll have to look at my calendar. It was the same. There was
you was with NAACP?
Yes, the NAACP's table was right outside of the Tropical Supermarket.
Who was behind the NAACP table?
Oh gosh, there were like 8 or 9 people there.
8 or 9 people from NAACP?
Yes, I have a business card in my pocketbook. I can share it with you.
Well, why wasn't I notified?
Sorry, it was one of those things that's what I'm saying now. I just went and picked up some posters from Anne Marie McCarthy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Well, you guys still been doing a whole lot of work. Ain't nobody seeing. Listen, Marilyn Altman called me, and she's with the League of Women Voters. Were the League of Women Voters with you?
Yes, they had a table like where like in the driveway. That's where their table was.
Y'all was all at Tropicana, right?
Yeah, the NAACP's table was outside of the Tropicana, and the League of Women Voters.
And all you guys were at Tropicana, right? All you guys were at Tropicana.
Excuse me?
I said all you guys were at Tropicana.
No, we went into businesses.
All right, John, why don't you call tomorrow?
Let me finish, guys.
Johnny, I called you earlier to talk, so I know you weren't able to talk, and I understand, but I did call you earlier to talk.
Why don't you two guys talk?
That's all. You know, and I couldn't. I was on the highway coming back from Delaware.
It's okay. I understand.
I don't call tomorrow, Johnny. Okay?
Listen, hey, Edna, tell Marilyn, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Tell Marilyn that the census is over at the 30th of the month. The census over at the 30th of the month of September.
Right. I know that that was reported at the last meeting.
Coming to the black neighborhood on the 3rd of October. hiring the League of Women Voters.
I don't know about that.
I know you don't, but I'm telling you that now, okay? So anytime you guys want to get anything done in the black neighborhood, I would appreciate you come to see me first. Because ain't nobody thinking about nobody you guys doing unless I'm involved. I can understand Spanish speaking, so I can understand your gift of being down there. But don't talk about you being a taking black neighborhood when ain't nobody seen you.
I don't appreciate the tone of voice being so confrontational.
I don't appreciate you either sometimes.
Johnny, hold
I
on.
let you know how I
Hold
feel.
on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Johnny, why don't you speak to Ed tomorrow in a better tone, please?
Okay.
Okay.
No problem with me. No, ain't no problem.
All right.
And I got some things done. We got the voter registration. I went out the other day and did voter registration all this week. I got about 10 people. And I'm still doing it the rest of the week.
That's beautiful. We're all doing different things. Alex just mentioned
I
what he's doing
appreciate it
at the middle school. So we're all doing.
Yeah, I know about the middle school.
We're all contributing.
Yes, I got you.
Wait. Well, why don't you call tomorrow? Because you called me last night, and I told you I would take care of it. So why don't you call tomorrow and get it all straightened out, John? Okay?
Yeah, okay. No problem. No problem.
Okay. Is there anything else we have to discuss? The youth center is still going strong. It's all up. I got an email today, and it's all on target, and we're okay. Is there anything else we have to discuss? If not, our next.
Hey, Gary, it's one thing I like to say to you guys. I appreciate you guys being able to understand my 3-point plan I got out in terms of saving young black men's lives.
Right.
And I also like to say that I applaud the Franklin Township municipal government and the Franklin Township's finance for opening the Police Community Relations Bureau. That's one of the objects of my 3-point plan. That's what I hope they do emulate that across the country in every black community because it's needed, along with the work training program, which I'm working on now, and going into the military service for young black men, saving young black men's lives. That's what I'm about to tell young Black Lives Matter. That's my contribution to them.
Okay. Thanks, John. Okay. Nothing else. Our next meeting is October 28th. Hopefully by that time, I'll have the password situation taken care of. If there's nothing else, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.